How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
Looking
Sorry
forward.
about my smoker's voice. I'm getting over something.
Oh,
So,
it's that time of year, right?
A cigar?
yeah, I'm currently going with flu shot for the second place because I was only sick for about 2 days, whereas if I hadn't had the flu shot, I probably would still be down to the count. So flu shot for the second place. Good enough, I guess. I figure we'll give people one more minute and then we'll kind of get started. It's always that awkward moment of the Zoom where you're not sure if more people are coming or not, and it's all good either way. So sure. So I do have a Jamboard if we wanted to start playing around with that. I am not the most experienced Jamboard user, but we're going to do our best with that. Here we go. Admit. Oh, never mind. Guess they're gone. We'll let them back in if they come back. All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Emily Thompson. I'm the director of the UTC Library Studio. I've been doing this job since 2017. It's actually hired in 2015 as just a studio librarian, which is the job Sarah Cantor does right now. We are just finishing up the process of hiring a second studio librarian. We've had two for a while, but somebody left for a different opportunity. And we had to pick a new one. So we're finishing up that process. And so this is just kind of a conversation about what it's like to hire people to work in these spaces, because they are new enough that, as I'm sure you've discovered, it's kind of hard to hire people with a lot of experience because no one has any experience because they didn't have one of these wherever they came from. So getting their job would be that experience. So there's only a few of us. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and where you're working and what I'm also interested in is what models are you working for? What does your studio space look like? And I'm just going to call on people. So I'm going to go with Megan first. Is it Megan or Megan?
It's Megan. Yeah.
I just saw your little thing. So I catch on eventually.
I appreciate it. Yep. Megan Oliver, I'm the head of digital projects right now at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. So I've been here for about a year. It is a very small shop. We have a little over 32,000 items in our repository. I have one full-time digitization specialist. That is my department. Then there is cataloging and metadata, and I work with one full-time metadata librarian there and like a part-time. Her time is split between metadata and original cataloging, I think. So it's a very, very small setup. I used to work at a larger flagship, but I felt that the hiring practices were not for the long term necessarily. I thought that they were extractive and relied very heavily on student labor in a more professional sense, like they were expected to do higher levels of professional labor. So I'm here to look at more sustainable hiring practices, and also to try to think about just what's happening in this particular area that I've not already. I'm sure there are things I'm not thinking about. So that's me.
Very cool. So John, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is John Jablonski. I'm out at the University of California in Santa Barbara, or UC Surfboard, as I like to call it. I am here with you all kind of wearing two hats. I direct one thing called the Data Research Exploration, Access, and Methods Lab, the Dream Lab, and that's my thing. And then we are, I'm on our makerspace committee, and we're in a design phase right now. It's going to be a room in the library staffed by our letters and sciences IT student staff. Speaking of relying on student labor. So DreamLab, we're doing VR, AR at a very startup level. Most of our work is with software and data carpentry workshops. And then the makerspace will be, the survey said 3D printing, sewing, embroidery, small electronics, soldering, and we don't know what we would do with it. And so that's where we're at. I have 2 people who work with me in the Dream Lab plus students. So that's one librarian who's new. They're a replacement. So the previous person only lasted 18 months. And one of my main questions is, or one of my main topics of conversation that I hope we're able to engage in is no matter what we plan for the long term, nobody can make us any promises that they're going to stick around for more than, well, actually nobody, based on recent experience, we can't even trust anybody to show up after we offer them a job. So open to advice on that.
And I think we have room for all of that.
Yeah.
Nico, where are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm here in Norfolk, Virginia. I am part of Slover Library, and I manage and operate the creative studios. And I'll drop the link into the chat message for it.
And is that it behind you?
No, that's my own studio at home.
Oh, yeah, because I was getting a little jealous there. I'm like, you look like you're hitting.
Well, you might be
hitting our
jealous
goal.
of the creative studio. So
Right.
I was part of the developing and planning for the studio spaces, and to kind of emulate the college background that I came from and turn these studios into multiple spaces. So we have the maker studio, design, production, and sound studio. And with these spaces, it was over $500,000 that we were working with, and that was, including equipment and the facilities that we have. I've been just trying to develop program and kind of see where the flow is going with what the community wants, because everything that we offer is free to the public. All they need is their library card. And I'm here because I'm excited about, this whole conference starting and meeting other people and other facilities and seeing what they're doing. Because I did go through a bit of a panic during the pandemic with trying to figure out how to offer services to the community when they shut us down. Any other questions? I don't know what else to say. There's so much about the studios.
Yeah, let this person in. Very cool. Yeah, I think I agree that we all have lots of things to say about it. So I work at the UTC Library.
I'm sorry. So Nico, what was your institution?
Slover Library. We're part of the city of Norfolk.
Oh, the city library. Cool. Okay, nice.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, we work with Norfolk Public Library. We're not actually part of Norfolk Public Library. We're our own department. So these creative studios are services that the Slover offers.
Okay, and Slover is a
library.
Sorry,
well,
a standalone library. It's not a part.
It's a standalone, yes, because
okay,
we
like
have weddings,
like a Newberry
IKEA conferences. Kind of it just it's a modern library.
Got it. Cool.
And so I work at the UTC Library Studio, and I dropped our link in there as well. We are digital media lab is kind of where I hold it off, because I get frustrated when people call us a makerspace, because we just don't have sewing machines, and we don't have CNC machines. We don't have a laser cutter. And we are so busy with the media that we probably can't support that. There's another makerspace on campus called the Hatchet Lab. It's out of the entrepreneurship program. So we have a place where we can send the students if they would like that. What we do is we do strictly creative production, graphic design, video, audio. We do have 3D printers, and so we do a little bit of that. But that's kind of where the maker stuff stops. We had VR for a while, and then that kind of died with the pandemic because sharing of masks is gross. And it's gross during the pandemic, not during the pandemic. It's even worse during the pandemic. And our students never really got, so we're a master's granting comprehensive. So we never really got beyond the, I want to go play games in the VR suite. And since we weren't getting a lot of academic use, it was really hard to justify bringing it back after the pandemic. And we've had, to my knowledge, like 2 students ask. So it's kind of okay. They just put in a whole gaming thing at the student union for esports. So they have a place to go really play video games. We have 3 tenure track faculty and 3 professional staff and 6 students. And as best I can tell, we are more fortunate in people than just about any other lab like this in the country. And I think it's really fascinating. We had one of our tenure track people leave this summer for another opportunity, and the provost immediately gave us that line back. So there was no questions, no arguments, no, it was, from what I understand, the conversation went, Wes quit? Oh, well, you need to hire someone else, go for it. And so that says a lot about how we're regarded on campus. So the tenure track faculty lines, we require an MLS or a related master's degree. And then for the professional lines, we just want a bachelor's degree and some sort of experience doing something. So that's kind of what we're going with. So yeah. So I had some questions, but I don't know if they're actually relevant to what you're looking for. So I guess the question is like how to get people to come in and stay.
Or just be prepared for them to leave.
Yeah, I am always prepared for them to leave. That is my personal, like I am always prepared for them to leave. And it's not like I'm expecting them to quit, but I've made it really clear as a manager that I won't hate you if you leave. And so they all give me warning. Like
Sure.
everybody I've worked, except like Wes, who left over the summer, didn't, but that wasn't really his style. But everybody else has given me 6 to 9 months warning that they're going to start looking for jobs, which is weird.
Yeah, no,
and
that's
unexpected.
that sounds
but
great actually. And you know, I think maybe my take home message from what you just said is you know, be very upfront from day one that you know, your circumstances might change and anyone's circumstances might change, and yeah, we won't hate you if we leave.
Yeah, we actually had a student worker last semester, which was a really good example of it because she was really struggling because our student workers only make $9 an hour. It sucks. I hate it. I can't change it.
Mhm.
But she said that she might want to go make more money, and she looked like she was going to cry. And I just was like, people quit jobs all the time.
Yeah.
And I had at least had the example where I was able to say, listen, you know, we had another student that quit her junior year because she needed to focus on her art stuff. And I hate her so much. I just bought 2 of her photos from her junior show.
Well,
so that's how I react.
Yeah, and you mentioned the financial aspects. You know, when an undergraduate can go off campus and make, you know, if they're you know, if they know R or Python and they can go off campus and make $25 or $35 an hour at a part-time job, remote, sitting in their dorm room, maybe sometimes, why would they, you know, why would they pour coffee or do something creative in the library for $9.50 or $15 in our case, minimum wage in California? Yeah,
and she did actually end up coming back, which
there you go.
Was a little bit frustrating because we'd like moved someone into that position. We've had trouble hiring work study this semester. And so we had to beg to have her back because we couldn't get in other students. But they finally let us have her. And so we were able to bring us back. But
I'm curious
because we have institutional and work study, and she was institutional. So
yeah, I'm curious about the other folks. If you're, you know, what is your sustainability plan for your programs, whether they're developed or in development?
For me, since we're city employees, during the pandemic, they actually laid off all part-time staff. I operated the studios with 15 volunteers, and I had 2 full-time people, and the rest was part-time staff to operate the 4 studios. So I went down to 2 people and then 1 person got married and moved away, and I was down to 1 person. No volunteers have returned, even though, and that's something else that I manage for the library. We're trying to get volunteers back, and the volunteer activity has been, I get like 1 or 2 applications every couple months. And when I looked into the city about hiring work study again, the city removed that right now. So it's been fun times at the library. But I have been getting staff back every time they do a budget request. I've been putting in my
Is that just me, or is that
No, she's stuck.
okay?
Let's see if she comes back.
Yeah, it's a real interesting model, and yeah, I know many municipalities just had to, you know, it was cleaner and probably more humane to lay people off and make sure their unemployment came through, and you know, any kind of COBRA benefits would come through at that point, rather than you know, try and have people limp it along. You know, for a lot of, I'm not going to point fingers at any municipalities that had to do layoffs.
Yeah, we were really lucky that we had a chancellor who made it his goal to not lay off anybody.
We were the same way.
Yeah, it was the most impressive thing that he's done, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for the first several weeks of the pandemic, our facilities people would Instagram like buckets of gum that they had scraped off the bottoms of tables. They literally, you know, and then when free and frequent testing started, it was the housekeeping staff that was telling us how far to stick the sticks up our noses.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Our landscaping looked beautiful all through the pandemic.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah. So I guess talking about, I guess, since I feel like I might be the most experienced with the hiring here, things that we found really successful we're a lot of people's day jobs, which I really enjoy. So one of the 3 guys that works for us is an audio producer. Someday he's going to make it, and I'm pretty sure that the day he quits, he's going to come in and be like, "I'm really sorry, I have to leave. I'm supposed to be on Jimmy Kimmel tomorrow." And like that's the level of talent we're dealing with. But he likes to have health insurance, as Keys and Kelsey mentioned.
Yeah.
Is that they, as artists, they like to have health insurance.
Yeah, that's a very real factor. Yeah.
And so we are a really good day job for that. So we find that those are kind of our place where we like to get.
Yeah.
Hi, Nico, welcome back.
my apologies, my network just disappeared.
No problem.
We figured, we're glad you came back. Excuse me. So that's who we found. I also find that my most successful are people who are looking for a career change and don't know what they want to do. So we had someone who was in the video game industry, which is not a nice place to people like that, because they were a person of color, they were trans, they were all kinds of different, which the video games industry may not always appreciate. And so we got to spend 3 years kind of reminding them that they could be respected and treated well at a job before they went on to a wonderful second new job, and they're off at UC Santa Cruz having a good time. So maybe you'll have a chance to check them out, John. And then we also get people like right out of college, and we can teach them their first job, which I read a lot of Allison Green and Ask a Manager, and so that's kind of where I start. And so we've got a really good base of like what a job is supposed to be and how you're supposed to behave, and that helps keep people for longer, because they do really like how they're treated.
Yeah, that's us with our work study students as well. It's like many of them have never had a job before.
Yeah. And it is with work study students, it is also our job to teach them how to have a job,
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
don't have any idea unless they're adorable 18-year-old hearts. So yeah, I'm guessing that's not for us.
No, do you teach them how to use a landline?
Most of them already know, for the most
Mine
part.
don't. Yeah.
They're not
We
that bad with it.
We have to teach everybody equally.
Yeah, we have one student who's like, she's a miracle on the phone. She's like,
Huh.
she doesn't get, people don't get yelled at that often, but she can be being berated by someone on the phone. And what you hear on the other end is, well, let me see what I can do with that.
That's awesome.
I think this is a little bit beyond me. So let me get my boss and I'll see what they say about it. And then the person picks up the phone and is just like, what the hell? How do you do that?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thing of beauty to watch Dominique on the phone. So I guess my next kind of question is, as hiring, who are you looking for next? What are you looking for? Staff? Are you looking for faculty? What are you looking for? And then I thought in the Jamboard, we could start to maybe put some ideas of characteristics, which are what you're looking for. I'll put that back in the chat in case people closed it by accident. So yeah, I have to remember how to use a Jamboard. Jamboards let you type, right? Oh, they'll let you do a sticky note.
Oscar or
What?
Megan, did you have anything to add to this question of hiring and what we're?
So Keys is actually bouncing between things as he manages all of the Zooms.
Oh, okay.
So he may or may not be paying attention. But Megan, I'd love to hear from you.
We are looking at hiring some long-term faculty, non-tenure track, which is the University of Missouri system here. They've created that space. There are more NTT faculty members than anybody else on campus at any of the campuses. So librarians fall under that. So we are looking at some faculty librarians. Currently, I have a part-time digital projects fellow. This person, it's a remote eligible position. It is an academic position. And the idea is that there's like a professional stipend, or professional development stipend that goes with it. That there's an ethical, we have like ethical concerns around workplace culture. So we're engaging in, I mean, we have a lot of like Confluence documentation on salary equity, making sure that we have a BIPOC workers group, making sure that we have equity committee where a lot of internal to the libraries issues, workplace culture is collaborated on, communicated, so that when we go out and we hire, we know that we're crafting a place that people want to actually be. I think one of the main barriers is that we don't have incredible pay rates in Missouri. So it's not like we can offer something, John, you mentioned about like people being able to go out and get a part-time job where they're, making close to a full-time salary for what would be a full-time librarian. We can't offer something competitive. So what we can offer is a workplace that is committed to not being discriminatory, it's welcoming, there's capacity concerns, things like that. So we're hiring for, I think, a special collections original cataloger right now, and then the next priority is a digital preservation librarian.
Sorry, I'm trying not to cough directly into the microphone for you, because that is not pleasant. Cool. So where is everybody else? I'm just kind of curious as to directions we should take this. When you say non-tenure track faculty, is that does that have a different? Can you? Because there's the tenure track faculty. There's permanent status, which is kind of like tenure track but isn't, and then there's like non-tenure track faculty like lecturers, and I find it fun that we all have various things that we do.
Yeah, and multiple places that you have places with the same name of a person, but they have different roles in different places.
Yeah, that's a
continuing
good sign.
lecturers, which seems like in some places would be a contradiction in terms.
Yeah. So somebody's wondering about grad student assistants. So
That
we
was me.
actually, yeah, so we've got that on the table right now where people, where the library was given a grad assistant and they're asking any departments what to do with if we want one. And I don't know what I would do with one. That's kind of the
Mhm.
problem, is because I've got such one, I'm fortunate enough to have professional staff, and two, I've got enough undergraduate workers that making a grad student's position meaningful to their grad work, I'm still struggling with what that means.
Mhm.
And so I'm also interested in that if people have ideas.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
I know
we're
that they can
interested.
be great.
Yeah, and we're interested in the nuts and bolts of my library administrators can't figure out what administrator on campus to approach to like give the blessing over the process of, yes, the library may have this special category of person, even though we keep pointing to other units on campus, like there's a graduate assistant 15 hours a week who gets tuition remission, who blogs for the grad post, and that's their job. And they do outreach to talk about what to write about, and they do a good job. But the student association is baffled about, they can't explain to me how this person came to be. It's just been there forever.
So ours come from the grad school. So like we actually
Yeah,
have
so
a
there's
graduate, the dean of the graduate
division,
program.
graduate
And
school. So we have a
that's,
graduate division.
and that's where they seem to come from. And they have a certain number every year that they have to dole out across campus
To like non-academic departments.
to whoever they deem is worthy. I'm not real clear
Okay,
on how
got it.
that part works.
Yeah.
But they do try. So we don't have a lot of grad programs because we're a smaller school. So most of them end up coming from industrial organizational psychology. There's some in history. I think there's you can get a master's in psychology as well. And then they're over in computer science. But the vast majority of them seem to come from industrial organizational psychology, so the IO Psych program.
Yep.
And they end up as administrators all across campus, like answering phones and doing those sorts of things. We're also in a really weird position where we're part of the UT system. So every now and again, we get interns from the library program at UT Knoxville, but not very often. Yeah. So Megan says, our grad positions and practicums exist with DEIA audits of digital collections, digital exhibit assistantship, ethical metadata remediation, special project research, depends on faculty and student needs, donor expectations, etc. Yeah, our special collections, I don't care if you're eating lunch, you're fine. ACTAL knows that people have to eat lunch. It's part of our tenets. Yeah, our special collections is usually really good about using grad assistants, which is the other reason why I don't want to fight for it too much, because if they know what they want to do, I don't want to take it away.
And then they and your library HR knows how to handle the specifics with campus about the tuition and things like that.
I think it all goes through campus HR.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or it goes through our business manager. So we mostly have to just like tick boxes and make sure that we keep track of their hours. Because I think it all kind of works like financial aid. So it's in the same kind of bucket as federal work study, but not federal work study.
Yeah, one thing I don't have, and I mean, maybe this sounds like a very traditional library way of doing things, but like you mentioned special collections and, exotic digitizing has sort of always worked like this, where you get, the manager is constantly writing grants and has a rolling sequence of funding that they can draw on to sometimes support an individual grad student for several years running. We just, I haven't been doing my own particular thing long enough to, and I'm too small. I'm actually trying to teach classes rather than write grants, because that's what people are asking me to do is, hey, come teach a class.
Yeah. Yeah, we just do kind of like guest star classes. We do the one shots.
Yeah.
We're very similar to our research and instruction program. Megan says, I don't run the studio, but we do have a couple students that help keep our digital collaboration studio open and functioning for students and faculty. The main reason I'm reading it in, Megan, is just because it's getting recorded and like the chat's going to be separate. So I want to make sure that you get credit for all your stuff, all your good words. Yeah, I do think that that's a fairly common model for digital collaboration studios, is to just have it be run by students.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy working somewhere where that's not our model, because I love our students. They're great. We give them a lot of cool stuff to do, but we don't, we can teach more classes for faculty and get more projects, get more digital projects done by having professional staff. This is the first year, I have to brag a little bit. This is the first year that Sarah told me she had a student in sociology complaining that they had to do 3 podcasts in 3 different classes. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
We have infected sociology.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, I forgot what I was going to say. So never mind.
Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to consider possibly collaborating on, and Megan, I'm pretty sure that I've got this one already said so that you can edit, is so in their last round of hiring that we just did, I'm short-staffed and a little too busy, and I probably shouldn't have been sharing the search. So that's kind of where I was, but we struggled a little bit with coming up with interview questions that were appropriate for this. And so like in my projection, I talked about the 2 most common ones, and we asked those on the phone interview. But thinking of other interview questions to try and get to the people and get to the skills that we need, particularly for explaining it to our colleagues in other departments who don't fully understand what we're doing. And I thought this would be an interesting collaboration document to start. It's just a Google Doc. To start, as ACTAL moves forward and we start to have resources for various people who are trying to do this, having a list of possible interview questions might be useful. So thoughts on that? I hate writing interview questions as well. So if you're like, yeah, can we not do this today? I will also find that an acceptable answer.
Yeah, well, I remember in the last hour you had mentioned hire the person who knows Premiere, who wants to learn Illustrator. So I was trying to think about how do I operationalize that literally as an interview question. It's on my screen, I swear to God. And what I came up with was, what things on our menu, what things that you see on our website are you most excited about learning that you don't already know? Because we're already out, they already put on their application what they do know.
Yeah. And so the way that we say it is looking at the studio's website, what do you see there that's unfamiliar to you that you're really excited about learning?
Cool.
So
We definitely
on your menu also. Sorry, Megan. Yes.
No, trying to get food out of my teeth. We definitely do something similar that you're both discussing, where you already know what they've done. We don't like to ask them all the same questions. If there's a particular role, however, like we just hired a digital projects fellow that is conducting a DEIA audit of digital collections, then we will ask a very specific question, like, how do you see this role adding to your body of knowledge, or what experiences do you think are most pertinent? We'll say that, but generally it's along the lines of, what questions and concerns do you have about this position? What are you thinking you're going to learn? We've even asked, what about this position intimidates you, so that we can, if the candidate is selected, we can attempt to maybe get rid of that element of intimidation, because that can keep people from fully engaging in a role even after they start it. And we also, the only other thing I'll say is we standardize our questions. So we're
We
trying
do
to
standardize as well.
ask the same ones to be as
State
ethical
law.
as possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it's state law.
Yeah, at multiple levels, state law.
Yeah, it is not state law here, but we still try and do it.
Yeah.
Megan, my very important question is, what is your cat's name? He's in the background being creepy.
Yeah, matching the bedspread, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two cats. That's Rika. She's a little former feral, and because I'm having lunch, she's hovering like a buzzard, and I'm the corpse or something. I don't know. She's got
Chromite floor on the floor.
She's very cute. I appreciate getting to meet her. My cat hates Zoom and tries to distract me from it and try and get it shut down. And she's not allowed in my office.
She might tear through. She's pulled down curtains in front of a all faculty where I was just meeting folks for the first time. She was running through and she pulled them all down. So that was fun. Now I'm that woman. And
yeah.
That's
always nice. I like this. What's the most complicated project you have ever worked on? That's a solid question.
Yeah, and that came from out of data too, specifically hiring data students. So the original wording was, what's the most complicated data project you've ever worked on? But we've just made it more generic through time. You know, if somebody wants to tell me that they're a Eagle Scout and that they, coordinated someone breaking trail, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely hire Eagle Scouts. They know how to get organized if they manage to succeed.
I will say one thing that I do struggle with asking, but we need to know is that because of the digital nature of our work, sometimes I think folks come to that role application wise and feel like they won't have to talk to anybody. And I think they pick this up in library school, or it's part of their personality, or both. But we actually have a lot of forward facing initiatives. And so I will ask about previous projects where you collaborated. It doesn't matter with how many people, just how did it go? Outreach, events, things like that. What is your comfort level doing? Kind of like cold emailing, because we have a lot of that going on for certain projects here where we haven't formed that relationship yet. And if they feel comfortable, they'll be able to kind of talk about that. And then if they don't, that is a delineating factor for us.
That is one of the things that we get as well, because we I think that this is a really interesting field because we get a lot of digital archivists applying for our jobs, and the closest mapping to a library job is a research and instruction librarian, because we teach like this semester we're teaching 88 one-shot classes. Between Sarah and I, we really need that third person to start. But we normally teach between 20 and 30 classes each every semester across campus. And so we need a teacher. So if you don't want to talk to people and you just want to scan stuff and do digital exhibits, I'll send them to you, Megan, when you're ready to hire.
We do want them to talk to people. That's the thing about digital exhibits creation, is it really should be done in that back room vacuum. You know, it should be done in groups. You should be talking to faculty. You should be talking to graduate students. We want them to be more aware of the communication. I think, especially in libraries and archives, is actually like 90% of your work.
Yeah, if you were in those lightning talks, the list of things that the artists had to learn about the library, about not knowing how to do a critique. And a meeting is a lot like a critique. Those are really keen observations, I thought. And the library land is the land of introverts, and everybody who works in a library should have some sort of forward-facing role, even if they have to bend over backwards to do it.
So one of the questions that we ask that may be helpful is it's what's the difference between good and exceptional customer service? And that question usually gets pretty good answers. And I think, and it also helps establish that, no, you have to do customer service, because that's part of when I had people asking me questions about the job that we're hiring for. I had somebody send me an email and go, can this job be done remote? And I was like, did you read the job ad where it said you have to work on the service desk 8 hours a week? Are you going to drive in from Michigan? Because no. And because like I'm of two minds about this remote stuff, because I don't like to work remote. I don't like it. It's not me. It doesn't work with me. It's not my thing. So I have trouble understanding the people who are like, I only want to work remote. They're just not me, and that's fine. But I struggle with people who want public services jobs in libraries and then have them be remote. It's just like, that's not the same.
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted like a screen on the desk that will connect to a person. I never imagined that the person wouldn't be in the building.
Yeah, because at some point you need
that
to
person,
like,
yeah.
walk and go down and talk to people. So yeah, this is good. I kind of wish that I had some of these questions last week.
Yeah. I'm sharing these with my person who will does my student hiring.
Yeah, and we're going to gather all of the stuff together and figure out where it goes, because this is being
That's nice.
recorded. The recordings will be everywhere, and I know that is our goal for ACTAL to keep one part at least remote, because some people are fortunate with travel and some people are not. So we want to make sure we want to be as inclusive as we can, while recognizing that some things need to be done in person.
Yeah, speaking of which, for the record, wait, how do I say this? I'm not supposed to go to North Carolina, but I've been assigned to go, and we're using private money. And I will make some sort of statement when I get there about how I'm not violating California law. Because we can't use state funds to travel in places where you have oppressive party bills.
So the six of us that originally started this as a support group, we're all already stuck in the South. So we just kind of forget that some people can't come to the South.
Missouri has no such law. Yeah.
It started as the Southeastern Multimedia Librarians was our first name, or CML, which is terrible.
Yeah, my UL is Kristen Antelman, who was at NC State. So I'll be meeting all of her former coworkers last week, and she was happy to spend the Friends of the Library money on this.
Yeah, but we are also, for future reference, we are keeping some of our conference funding for scholarships. So
great,
we can help with that. We were really lucky to be able to do this relatively inexpensively. Adobe was very generous.
That's
but
great.
We will have travel stipends available, particularly for situations like that. Since, I mean, next year if we're in Virginia, that's going to be fine. But I live in Tennessee, and we're hoping to host at some point. And Tennessee often has a lot of similar problems to North Carolina. They're just a little bit quieter about it. Bless Tennessee's heart. Yeah.
You are from the South, aren't you?
Me, I am not. I learned that here. I'm from
bless Tennessee's heart. Yeah, you live in the South. You've adopted well.
I will say this was a concern when I was interviewing. I was in South Carolina interviewing in obviously for Missouri, and
well, I think you've made that clear. Yeah, that's awesome.
But it was a concern on the part of the people doing the long-term hiring, is that they're completely aware here, I think because Kansas City is very progressive, that it would be difficult to retain folks if they don't feel particularly welcome. So I am white, but I'm also a woman, and I'm queer, and I have disabilities. And so all of those things they were concerned who would take a job in a space that they don't feel welcome in. So I don't know how to necessarily represent that, but that was something I thought, just to kind of think about the long-term portion. If you don't have a welcoming environment or something, it's hard to.
No, it's super important, and I think it's just becoming increasingly so as time goes on.
Yeah, I put a sticky note in the Jamboard that says making people feel welcome in unwelcoming areas, because a lot of times that's not the organization. It may not even be the city where the organization is located, but the state might be in a mood. That's kind of how I describe Tennessee, because we have Chattanooga, which is lovely and very friendly and very welcoming for the most part, but we're gerrymandered in with some really unfriendly and people that I disagree with.
I have a workshop I can do on that.
Yeah.
Actually,
on gerrymandering?
What sort of an interview question do you then ask about, how do you give exceptional service to someone who's radically different from you are?
Yeah,
I mean, they did ask I think it was also part of my interview process, but that it was a concern and that they asked it directly. I think the best way is to just ask, do you have any concerns about, being in this space? If I don't know about students, right? Students have chosen to go to a university and work at one. I'm sure they have concerns. I'm thinking more like the long-term full-time folks that might be moving across the country like myself. I would just directly ask, do you have any concerns about living in this state, or do you want to know more? Especially when I did my on-site visit during August 2021. So we still weren't as a country really feeling out of anything. And I don't think we are now, but there's a different feeling in the air. And that was just directly put to me. And I think it can be done in a way that is not necessarily politically partisan, but that you can just say, you mentioned that you're a queer woman. How do you feel about moving to Missouri?
Yeah, you can always repeat
You're-
back. Yeah.
You're a woman. Your body belongs to the state now. Do you have concerns about
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure if I'd go that far. But
well, but
Yep,
you can find, right, you reword it, but you can
Yeah.
find ways to ask people those questions, because that makes a big difference. How they see the place makes
Yeah,
a
it
big
does.
difference as
It
to
does.
whether or not they see themselves staying.
Yeah, and I guess it used to be that you would discuss that at lunch, but it was all too often it was a knife with two edges. And so now, now that kind of conversation topic is kind of avoided. I feel.
Well, you have to be careful, because
right.
If for example, they flat out ask you if you're a queer woman and then you don't get the job, it opens the door to,
Well, and
is that
that's why I said
why?
it's
And
a sword that crosses both ways. That, for forever it's been
I-
used to exclude people,
I
not to
think it-
include people.
I think it's because I brought it up. So
if
then
you bring it up, you're cool.
they asked me.
And
I
that's,
do
and, that-
think
and that's why I love the, do you have any concerns?
I think
and
they
the,
made that decision. Yeah.
And reminding reminding hiring committees that once information is offered, you can address it. You can repeat back, and that's I think maybe that's an important thing to share with hiring committees. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
the question that we were asking that kind of tries to make it clear where we stand is, we ask, provide some examples of ways you have worked with people with different needs, abilities, or backgrounds. Be specific about steps you took to address these varying needs and experiences. And that's like, tell us about a time where you actually did something, not just, please don't just reiterate what you learned in library school about DEI. Tell us about a thing you did that made it better for somebody. And we get really good answers on that, or we get non-answers, which is because it's a hard question. To think about that time where you did something, or you screwed up and tried to make it right, or the ways that you made someone feel welcome in your space. That's
I have always had an answer for that question since I was 24, and I was a technical support person in a library, and I was pulled aside and said, John, when you go to this person's cubicle, you can't stand over her shoulder. You have to get down on your knees and make yourself smaller than she is. And if you can't do that, bring a small chair and sit in a small chair. But that was also my first experience of, I shouldn't touch her mouse or a keyboard either. I should be using my words to explain what she should be doing with her computer. And it was a really great learning experience for me. And I'm not a small person. You can't tell on Zoom, but I'm 6 foot tall and almost 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to even give that as an answer. Like, here was the learning opportunity. Here's where I realized this wasn't working, or someone made a suggestion and I changed my behavior in all professional environments because I
teach it to everybody else. Yeah, I have taught it to everybody else ever since.
Right. I think a non-answer for me is a waste of everybody's time. Like, for me, a non-answer is very telling in an interview process.
Yeah, which is why we have to have a DEI question in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's always trying to find the one that's like actually worth everybody's time.
UC Santa Barbara is a Hispanic serving institution. Comma.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we are not any sort of specialized, we are a primarily white institution, but we've got a growing population, and we do a lot of local folks of color. It's a pretty diverse student body, actually. It's a lot of fun. What we do have, interestingly, is they have this program called Mosaic, which is for autistic students to learn
Awesome.
kind of social skills in a way. And it's kind of expensive and it's a little bit hard to get into, but because the Mosaic program's been so successful, we have autistic students who didn't get into the program. So there's a lot of students that are somewhere on the spectrum all over campus because they know that this is a campus that can work with them.
That's
And
kind of,
so-
that's super cool.
Yeah.
I've literally never heard of that. Is it modeled on some larger program?
I think they came up with it, or they worked with a group to help put it together, a group that is not Autism Speaks, like a real group, which tells you a lot about how we're trained because I know that it's not Autism Speaks. But it does, we've had good enough training that like you'll walk into a classroom and there will be a student there who is asking a lot of questions very loudly and out of turn. And you're like, okay, how are you? I'll get to that in a minute. Thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. So here's the answer to that one. I will get to that one in a minute, but I'm going to talk to this person. And it's not a big deal.
It's not.
And the Mosaic students are actually, they're great. They invited me to their talent show over Zoom during the pandemic. It was so much fun. So yeah. So that's kind of who our weird, not weird, but collection of people that you wouldn't necessarily think of having a large community on campus. That's what we've got. And all of the service animals ever. So many dogs. So many dogs. Cool.
I have a lunch date. Who just arrived?
Okay,
I gotta
it's
get
nice to
that.
meet you. We're getting towards the end of it as well. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add, Megan, for the recording. Really enjoyed talking to you. I don't know if you're going to be there next week, but if not, we're doing it again at another time.
Yeah, I will probably, it might be next year. I think I've exhausted a lot of my funding.
Like I
Going
said,
left.
scholarships.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
Yeah.
also feel like I'm kind of dipping in from related but not exactly the same area. Like I do some classroom and instruction, but not on that level. I work with people who work in the collaboration studio, but I don't run it. Like I'm kind of sussing out the whole ACTAL as a
We're
yeah.
also sussing it out
Yeah.
because it's such a new area that we're not really sure where it's going. And we know that we need to start talking to each other. So rather than just like being like, no, you're wrong, we're just like, okay, what are you bringing? And
Yeah.
let's talk about that. And if you're getting something out of it, then you're absolutely welcome. That's kind of where I land. We don't know yet. So like, I know very well what I do.
Mhm.
I don't really know what other people are doing. And so we'll have to see what
Yeah.
it is.
I think it'll be easier in person to get a sense of who's there.
Yeah.
Than
But we are going to
Zoom rooms.
keep going. That's the
Yes.
important thing. We're going to keep
Yeah.
going past next week.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it ends up. But thank
Yeah.
you very much for coming to this roundtable. It was nice to meet
Nice
you
to
and
meet
meet your cat.
Yes.
And we'll
You as
see
well.
you online at the next virtual thing, maybe.
Okay.
Cool.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Keys, I don't know if you're listening, but I'm gonna leave and leave you with the recording. So I think that's gonna be done. Good work with all the rooms this time. Bye.